We are live here from Daytona for the final race of the regular season. It's the Coke Zero 400. Well, we're going to be here for a great race. This is your pre-race show brought to you by Toyota. Yeah, it's going to be a great time tonight. We have 41 cars on track, with a bunch of drivers needing a win to get into the playoffs, and a few more looking to advance on points. As a matter of fact, we're about to be able to see some information about the points in a few short seconds here once the interns have all that ready for us. As we get a look at the wonderful fans here in attendance today. Here is the current bubble for it to get into the playoffs. Chris Buescher and Carson Hocevar currently are above the bubble, the cutoff, with Barry, Gibbs, and Busch being the most immediate drivers below it. And here's a better look at your full playoff standings here entering the final race before the regular season. As we can see, 3 drivers below the cut line are mathematically still in contention to make it to the playoffs, but it's going to take some work on their parts, as Buescher has 33 points above the cut line and Hocevar only 8. So that'll be an interesting storyline to follow today. So it looks like these drivers are getting ready to get their engines fired. Here's a quick look at the regular season point standings. Looks like Byron's leading and Alex Bowen's currently the guy running out the top 10. The top 10 in points will receive playoff points in addition to what they already have earned for the playoffs this season. Alright. Here are your ones to watch, presented by Wendy's. Austin Cindric, he is your pole sitter for today's race, and he's in a must-win points position after losing at Talladega. He hasn't been able to get back up front since. Kyle Larson is still seeking a Super Speedway win, but he has multiple wins this season, so he doesn't have to win tonight. Josh Berry performed well in the race in February, and is 8 points down to the cut line. Carson Hocevar, he's an underdog with a shot to make it to the playoffs, but he's only 8 points above the cut line. And finally, Denny Hamlin, he almost won in February, but again, he doesn't have to win as he already has 4 this season. Now your drivers going to the rear of the field. Tyler Reddick had an unapproved adjustment after qualifying, and these other 3 drivers, for whatever reason, weren't able to do well in qualifying, had some problems, or in the case of Castroneves, no problem whatsoever. Quickly, we're going to show you the highlights of what happened in qualifying. It should be noted that the reason that Castroneves is starting in the back is because of the whole charter controversy with 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, so NASCAR agreed only to let him come back for this race if he would be the OEM spot. Meanwhile, as we can see, Chase Elliott's engine blew up during his run in qualifying and he was unable to complete his lap. And then Todd Gilliland, going through 3 and 4, lost the car, barely managed to save it, we're still not how it was physically possible, and he ultimately aborted his run as well.
It's an amazing evening here in Daytona. Drivers, start your engines.
Alright, the engines are fired, and it looks like they are now rolling off to be getting prepared to start the race. Here's your starting lineup presented by Ozempic. On row 1, we have Austin Cindric and Chris Buescher. That's not right, but on row 2, we have Kyle Busch and Alex Bowen, not shown correctly on the graphic. Row 3, we have Joey Logano and Chase Briscoe. Row 4, Bubba Wallace and William Byron. Row 5, Josh Berry and Austin Dillon. Row 6, Ryan Blaney and Ryan Preece, the Ryans. Row 7, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. Row 8, Michael McDowell and Martin Truex Jr. Row 9, Noah Gragson and Brad Keselowski. Row 10, AJ Allmendinger and Zane Smith, both drivers needing a win. John Hunter Nemechek and Tyler Reddick make up row 11, with Reddick going to the rear of the field. And in row 12, we have Corey LaJoie and Carson Hocevar. Row 13, Ross Chastain and Jimmy Johnson. Row 14, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Shane Van Gisbergen. Row 15, Riley Herbst and Denny Hamlin. Row 16, Cole Custer and Connor Zilisch. Row 17, Ty Gibbs and Ty Dillon, the ties this time. Row 18, Daniel Suarez and Eric Jones. Row 19, Justin Haley and Cody Ware. Row 20, Chase Elliott and Todd Gilliland, and rounding out the field, row 21, Helio Castroneves in that 91 car. So that's your starting lineup. Here are your keys to the race, presented by viewers like you. Thank you. The keys to today's race are avoiding pit road trouble, as that could end your day, working with manufacturer teammates, because that's just how these things go now, and avoiding the big one, because that really will end your day for sure if you're involved in that. Alright, they're ready to get rolling. The pace car is on pit road. Get ready, and let's go racing at Daytona! As they enter onto the backstretch, still side by side. No line has gained a particular advantage yet, although it looks like the momentum is being carried now, yes, by Cindric, who now has gotten in front of Buescher, who's now gotten in front of Logano, making a bit of a Ford brigade here, but already Wallace is going to make it 3 wide behind them to put Logano down the middle with Bowman. And it looks like some other drivers are actually going to form up the middle lane, and now the outside lane is falling back. And now Buescher has made his move for the lead over Cindric, with the help of Wallace. Those two drivers will be 1-2 as they cross the line here on lap 3, almost halfway through the stage. Buescher still leads, still 3 wide they go. Looks like a few more drivers who weren't necessarily up at the front at the start are going to get a little bit closer now. We see drivers like McDowell, Gregson back there. Buescher puts a daring move over Blaney, who managed to get in front of Wallace. And now Josh Berry, one of those bubble drivers, who as we can see is 25 points over the cut line. He's up in the top 3. As Buescher throws a block on him now. Now Wallace puts Blaney down the middle. There's some contact between the 17 and 21. Now the 17's in the middle. Crazy action here in stage 1 with 2 to go left in it. As it looks like Wallace is going to lead this lap. He's going to have 2 Chevys behind him with a bunch of Ford drivers in the lane to the outside of them. Still side by side going down the backstretch. So it looks like they're going to be 2 by 2 most of the way. It looks like the outside lane is just floundering. We saw Bell bailing out of it. And now we're to the final lap of stage 1 with the 23 and 21 cars side by side. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Will anyone jump out of line here? It looks like Blaney and Logano and LaJoy are moving towards the front. Wallace has blocked Barry. It's going through 3 and 4. Now they're putting Wallace to the outside. Barry has the advantage. No, now Larson does, and Larson's going to win the stage. With Barry, McDowell, Gregson, and Wallace rounding out the top 5, your Stage 1 winner is Kyle Larson. That's also going to be a playoff point to him. So good for him. As now, the next thing on the list will be pit stops coming up shortly, unless we have a caution. The pit road window is around 14 laps, but a lot of the drivers are planning to probably try to pit before the end of the stage for strategy reasons. Already here on lap 8. Still the 5 and the 23 side by side. It looks like no one's in a particular rush to make any massive moves. Probably just getting themselves in positions to be with some of their teammates, manufacturer or legitimately, for the pit stops. As now it looks like Wallace led that lap, and now he's gotten a push from Logano. Wallace has cleared the 5 car of Larson, and now it looks like those Fords of Logano and LaJoy are going to try to get alongside them to get in better position for pit stops or the stage, depending on how this goes. Now Wallace has been put down the middle here on lap 10, almost halfway done with this race already. Crazy to say that. The 5 and the 22 are side by side. We are hearing that some drivers might start pitting this time. We think it's going to be started by the Chevy of Michael McDowell, but we're not entirely sure. Let's see what's about to happen, and indeed it is the 71 and others.
Michael McDowell has been using the draft to his advantage all day, but is still worried about the Chevy strategy. He is going with fuel only as we wind down to the final 2 laps of Stage 2.
Alright, those guys managed to have some seemingly successful pit stops. So now it looks like we're going to have some more pit stops coming shortly from the back of the pack. And indeed, Hocevar, the Bull driver, and Barry behind him are some of the first ones to pull off.
Josh Berry currently holds a 1-point advantage to get into the playoffs, and he just wants to get back out front. Fuel only for him.
Alright, here we go to the end of the stage. It looks like 2 drivers side by side for the stage win. Bell or Logano, and it's going to be Christopher Bell for Toyota winning the stage. It's going to be a playoff point to him as well. So we are now on lap 13. We had some more drivers peel off, but we didn't really focus on them because of the stage finish. We imagine that all of these guys in this lead pack, I think we believe it's around 12 cars, are going to be pitting, and here they come now.
Christopher Bell, Stage 2 winner, is very happy with this race car right now. His team thinks he has a great shot at winning today's race. If you only stop for the 20 car.
Alright, it looks like those drivers are going to be merging now onto the backstretch with Bell leading them off of pit road. It looks like McDowell and Stenhouse are leading the other line. And already Hamlin's being put to the outside. It's going to be some interesting jockeying here for position. It looks like they're going to be too wide coming here to lap 15. Oh, there's a massive crash on the front stretch! A lot of cars. Oh, more hits! Oh! Caution is out. Can't say we're entirely surprised. Merging all those packs together like that. Just chaos. Looks like around 10 cars involved. Jones in the back there. We can see him. Has some damage. Here's the replay of the wreck that took place just at the start of lap 15. Yeah, it looks like Stenhouse and Logano were going for the same general area. And yeah, just turned the 47, Logano and Hamlin were some of the first ones involved. It looks like Larson got into Jones, Preece, Smith, Elliott, Ware. They just really had nowhere to go. Might be race ending damage for pretty much all of those guys that got involved in the pile up there. We'll have to see about Jones. Your drivers involved: Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and Zane Smith. In addition to them, Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cody Ware, and Ryan Preece were involved. It's 9 drivers total. Almost a quarter of the field there. It's impressive how big the crashes can get here at Daytona. Fortunately, due to safety innovations, these drivers should all be in good health currently. As we're hearing Jones report that he thinks the car can be salvaged. We're going to get some highlights quickly from the Daytona 500 while we were under red flag conditions. To remind you all, this was the caution that made us go to overtime in the Daytona 500. Unfortunately, Bell just ran out of real estate there, and that was the end of his Daytona 500. And here we are with only about a lap and a half left in the race. It was still crazy 3-wide racing up front. So a bunch of drivers really wanted to win this race. The Penske duo up front, Logano and Blaney, did a lot that day. And so did Hamlin and Herbst up front, his new driver. As we can see, Logano was put down the middle because ultimately Blaney just ran out of patience. He had his manufacturer teammate of Buescher behind him, and ultimately that was really all he needed after he got a few more blocks in. Buescher just couldn't mount the charge, and Blaney, Ryan Blaney, son of Dave Blaney, won the Daytona 500 this year. NASCAR officials are saying that we are indeed now back under caution conditions. These are all your drivers pictured who were involved in the wreck. 8 out, 1 not. Here are your mid-race notes. 33 cars are still in the race. Some questions we have: will we finish on schedule, and will manufacturer ties hold, and if so, for how long? Here are your restarting positions after they chose their positions for the restart. And it's interesting to note that these two drivers are 1 point apart right now. Or at least they are, not counting positions, with Blaney having 1 more point before the finish than Hocevar. It looks like the pace car has gone down pit road again as we're looking at Lake Lloyd. Green flag on lap 17 of 20. Scheduled, that is. As it should be noted, there are no more stage finishes, only 4 laps until the very end of the race. Bunch of interesting storylines up front. We have a bunch of Toyota drivers. It's worth noting that for manufacturer purposes, some Chevys behind them, some Fords up front too. It'll be interesting to see how they negotiate this in the last 3 laps. Now McDowell has been put down the middle by those Fords of Gregson and Buescher. Toyota, who's going places. Bell is currently leading with Reddick in 3rd, Briscoe in 5th, and Wallace in 13th, being the top 4 Toyotas currently. Now we're coming to 2 laps to go. Getting a look at who's up front. Got a bunch of Fords up there in the inside line. It'll be interesting to see how loyal they are to each other, or if they picked out their teammates specifically to be loyal to. As now Briscoe is making a move on the inside of Reddick. They're going 3 wide behind them. And another crash on the backstretch. Austin Dillon hits the wall hard. Involved some others. Looked like Truex and Nemechek, those Toyota guys. As indeed it was, and they're going to have to wait to see if they can get their cars refired after those hits. Here's the replay, or some replays of the incident. Yeah, it looks like Cindric tried to make a move to the outside of Dylan. Dylan tried to block, and ultimately he just didn't have enough clearance. He got loose off the front end of Cindric and got into Nemechek, and from there, just hard knocks for all of them. Hard hit for Dylan there, especially. Like look at the way his car wobbles after he hits the wall. Whew. But yeah, this means I guess we're going to be officially going to overtime now. Here are your drivers involved: Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, and Martin Truex Jr. Unfortunate for Truex, as this could be his final start. We're not really sure yet. Looks like Cindric's going to be able to continue. Not shocking, though. His damage was pretty insignificant looking. So yeah, we're up to 11 cars out of the race now. Here are your restart positions for this restart. Gonna be 2 laps to go here at Daytona to determine who makes the playoffs. As we can see, Barry there, Hocevar not far behind. But will it even matter for those two, as Gragson, your current leader, would get in on a win right now and knock both of them out? It'll be interesting to see what these drivers do. Already some moves by Gilliland and Barry, but it's not going to work. They're dropping to the back, and that might be the end of Gilliland's chances of winning today. All of those Toyotas still side by side. Now Pusher, with the help of his teammate Keselowski, makes a move to the outside of Gregson. Now Christopher Bell's being marked as your leader, with Chase Briscoe, his teammate, behind them. Brett Keselowski, they're always around! Oh, but he saves it, but it's not going to matter. Briscoe's leading now with Hocevar right behind him. Hocevar to the outside. Ah, so much is happening. But Chase Briscoe is going to win the race. Wow. Okay, a lot just happened. But important takeaway, Chase Briscoe. Congratulations, he just won the race. He's the winner of our Coke Zero 400 here this year, 2025. We're going to look at a replay of the final lap, as a lot happened there. So let's take a little more of a deep dive, as it looks like Barry tried to make a move there on Keselowski, and Keselowski just couldn't block him in time. It's impressive they didn't hit the wall, but it didn't really matter at that point, other than, I guess, damage. And yeah, Hocevar tried to make a move on Briscoe, but Bell was able to get back to his teammate, and that was all that Briscoe needed, as Barry and Blaney just couldn't make enough of a charge at the very end. Here are your unofficial results from Daytona. Briscoe, Barry, Bell, Hocevar, and Blaney are your top 5. That should get Barry in, but we'll have to see on points. Some drivers with some interesting finishes. McDowell in 21st. He had a pretty good race until the very end. Austin Cindric was up there for the first part of the race. And here are some of your DNFs from today's race. Drivers that, for whatever reason, ultimately just were not able to finish the race. William Byron, congratulations to him and his team. They are the regular season champions for this season. Here's a little look at the final results for those regular season points, barring any changes from disqualification or anything. Looks like Bowman was able to hold on to 10th. Bunch of other drivers, it looks like Briscoe might have gotten something else out of that. Hard to tell though. But yeah, congratulations to his team. We're going to look at the playoff standings real quick. And it looks like, yep, Josh Berry has made it in over Carson Hocevar by 3 points after the way this race ended. So that 21 car will be the final driver in on points, with Busher and Bowman also joining him on points. Looks like Bowman actually looks like quite a bit of points today. Lucky for him, he was already locked in coming in. Tough luck for Hocevar though, and here are your actual playoff standings entering the first race of the round of 16 next week. Looks like Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, and Kyle Larson, as well as really William Byron, they kind of stand out on how many playoff points they're coming in with. Van Gisbergen, a bunch of road courses, and then from there, a lot of drivers really close on points, so that'll be making for some interesting storylines, starting next week at not Daytona, we're at Daytona, Darlington, next week. And one more time, congratulations to the 19 team. It's their first year with Briscoe in that car. The playoffs will be beginning next week at Darlington. At the time you can see on your screen, not actually in this channel, just for lore. But yeah, this was a good race today. I, for one, personally enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. It'll be interesting to see what differences there are, after all, coming up soon, when we have the COT season begin. Goodbye.